Right now, I'm employed by Microsoft in the capacity of the product manager.
What motivated you to pursue your bachelor's degree at the University of South Florida, and your master's degree at the University of Texas at Dallas? After 30 applications, 20 rejections, listen, 20 rejections, 5 phone interviews and 2 in-person interviews.
It's almost nothing compared to the story that I had with Amazon. For Southwest, it took me around 30 applications, but for Amazon, it took me 117.
Wow.
117. The reason why I chose the University of Texas at Dallas to pursue my master's was more of a strategic decision because I wanted to kill two birds with one stone.
Could you share some insights on your career journey, like from starting as an operations supervisor at FedEx to becoming a business analyst at Amazon and eventually a product manager at Microsoft?
Communication. This is what I've learned on my own. Communication is the key.
So as a product manager at Microsoft, can you tell us more about your current role and responsibilities?
One day come back to my motherland and see if I can help our nation, our people, right? Because you can create a very good product, but if you don't know how to position it within the market or how to attract customers, right, it will never work well. Yes, like you see, I can connect, but when you talk about the aviation, right, there are a lot of IT products they use. Let me tell you one thing, right? I can list you 55 books right now and say they were great for me, but it doesn't necessarily mean they could be great for you as well, right? Yeah. I've seen a lot of smart people who are graduating from the big Ivy League schools, right? But one thing I've noticed is not everyone can use the knowledge in a proper way. And he told me one thing, hey, in the future, when someone else comes across, when you feel in need or help, just go ahead and help them as well.
A lot of notes today, yeah. I learned a lot from you today. So what's up, everybody? We are continuing our AMS session with the guests who are experts in IT industry. So today our guest is Orzumand Khodiev, who is the product manager at Microsoft, and he worked for Amazon as well. So welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me over.
I'm Akhmad Hurshetov, and I'm a volunteer at IT Community of Uzbekistan. So IT Community of Uzbekistan is a project that unites all the people like from Uzbekistan and from other countries to unite and create a strong bridge between them. So it's a huge platform. So you can find our LinkedIn group on LinkedIn. Yeah. So join us and stay tuned for other upcoming interviews with other guests. So let's begin then. The first question is about who is Orzumand Khodiev?
So Orzu in my words. So I'm originally from Tashkent, Uzbekistan. So I've came to United States almost 9 years ago when I was 17-year-old student. Came here with no family, no friends. My English was not that good at that time, so I had to catch up a lot on it. So, but yeah, originally from my motherland, Uzbekistan. Right now, my background in academic and professional is in supply chain management primarily. Right now, I'm employed by Microsoft in the capacity of the product manager. This supply chain industry has been, I've been part of this industry for a while, for the last 5 years, I would say, my professional career. Doing all kinds of work. Outside of work, I enjoy playing football, or how people in America call it soccer. Right, I'm a huge aviation enthusiast as well. I like following civil aviation. You could see the airplanes on my background as well. I have a little collection. Yeah, and as I mentioned, I'm located based out of Seattle, Washington. So it's very, very far from Uzbekistan.
Great background. Like, so we'll get back to this. So for just the beginning, like, let's begin with warm-up questions. So do you have any hobbies, and what are they? Like, I saw you that on Instagram you recite some poems, and you love skydiving, you know. Do you have any hobbies?
That's a good question. So one of the hobbies I mentioned is regarding playing football or soccer, right? So I do this all the time, whenever I can, right? Actually, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a football player, but my parents told me that I should pursue a different path in my career. So yeah, regarding the poems, I used to read poems a couple years ago, but not anymore. It was some sort of an inspiration from me. Yeah, I mean, I still sometimes watch them and read them, but not in the capacity like I used to do in the past. So
Uh-huh. Yeah,
yeah,
that's great.
yeah,
Uh,
thank you. Yeah, and regarding the skydiving, I've tried it once. You see, I'm scared of heights, so it was a big challenge for me as well to jump from almost 5,000 meters.
wow.
So, but it was a really good experience. Highly
Wow.
recommend you doing that as well.
Yeah, like I hope, yeah.
Yeah.
So about the football, yeah, and I kind of checked your Instagram as well. And you at 16 years old, you were like went to London and you were in Old Trafford, like seeing a Manchester United game. Wow, that's so great.
Yes, I was really fortunate to go there for the summer camp, I would say, right? And I traveled across the London as well. It was actually my first time when I traveled by myself with no supervision, right? And I had the whole country to my capacity. So I would want to go to Manchester. This is how I decided to go there and see the Old Trafford or the Theatre of Dreams. This is
Mhm.
how they say it. And I'm a huge fan of Man United, so that explains.
Wow, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's solid. And I'm seeing like behind you some models of airplanes. Like,
Yeah.
uh,
Yes.
is that's your hobbies to get to like get some collection? Let's say.
Yeah. I like to collect things and I mean airplanes that you can see. One of them are actually Uzbekistan Airways. It's a
Oh.
model for Boeing 787 Dreamliner
Hmm.
that flies. Yeah, it's one of the newer models. So yeah, I do this as a hobby. I love aviation, and I mean I can't be a pilot right now, but at least this is something that I filled my heart and soul. I think, and saying, hey, I at least have airplanes in my house.
Wow.
Not in the garage yet, so
Uh-huh. Your atmosphere in your home is just like another level of yeah.
thank you, thank
Um,
you.
so let's get back to the your educational background. So, what motivated you to pursue your bachelor's degree at the University of South Florida, and like, and your master's degree at the University of Texas at Dallas? Like generally, what motivated you to study in another country?
That's a very good question. And you already brought this up initially, right? I had an opportunity to travel to England when I was 15 or 16, right? And this is
Hmm.
the time when I realized, hey, I want to be a free bird. I think I can handle myself. I like the independence and I like that feeling of freedom, right? As soon as I returned back from my trip, right, I started looking for the IELTS courses. So basically, that was very common, right? And to see, hey, if I can get any placements or opportunities to study abroad. The United States has never been a part of my bigger picture, I would say. I mean, at that time, little did I know about how my life would turn on. But uh, yeah, life took me here. Fortunately, the reason why I came to USF or University of Florida is they had a very good program for international students. And imagine me, right, coming from Uzbekistan. I did not know much anything about America at that time. Everything that I knew was a Spider-Man in New York was my whole impression. So, yeah, I wasn't well educated at that time about the country. So I came to USF. I was located in Florida State in the city of Tampa. Yeah, it started my pursuing my life, I would say. I didn't know that life would take me that much and I would stay here for almost 9 years. Honestly, when I first flew there, I felt like I'm already in Harvard. So it was a huge thing for me. Yeah, and I still remember my first days. I was getting acclimated and meeting new people here and just my first feelings. Yeah, at USF, I pursued dual bachelor's degree. First was in marketing supply chain management. Second is a political science. So, right, and I also have a master's in supply chain management from University of Texas at Dallas. Uh, Within the United States, there are certain immigration limitations. That's why I had to step out of my career after graduating from undergrad from USF when I
Hmm.
was used to work at FedEx. And mainly, I decided to pursue my master's in supply chain as well. That was the indicating decision for me to move to Texas and continue my academic studies.
Wow. Yeah. So, and studying political science and minoring political science and studying your majors, how these academic experiences contribute to your career path right now?
Good question. So, in full transparency, you can see, right, my main experience is within the supply chain industry, right? I haven't not used much of the political science experience or acumen, right? I always thought this is something for the future for me, for the long-term plans. But like when you come to the US institutions, the idea is to get educated not through just the academic curriculum, right? You also have a lot of social activities, you have extracurricular activities outside of school, right? They call it networking as well with fellow students, right? And like it's just embodying and living this college campus life, right? I would say the education program is great. Despite of a lot of challenges and barriers, I was able to like deep dive within 2 month time frame when I first came here and started to enjoy it. Everything is methodical, right? The instructors or professors are very helpful because there's a huge diaspora of international students across the whole US. So I didn't feel like I was just the only one in the class, coming from somewhere. But yeah, overall, I would say it's a great experience, and it really pays off, right? If you work hard on that path and if you study well as well. So most of this is the ingredients have been given to you. It's up to you what type of meal would you want to prepare. So that's my analogy.
That's the quote for today, I think.
Thank you.
And I kind of read your, let's say, written interview at Habar Uz, you post on your LinkedIn, and I got a lot from that, and I got a lot like after 30 applications, 20 rejections. Listen, 20 rejections, 5 phone interviews and 2 in-person interviews. You joined Southwest Airlines as a ground operations intern for spring 2020.
Yeah,
like 20 rejections. How did you find motivation? Let's say motivation for applying again and again. Like, was that the reason that you had been interested in the aviation industry since your childhood, even though your career path is primarily focused on business rather than aviation? Yeah.
Yes, good question. Actually, the story is almost nothing compared to the story that I had with Amazon with my ex-employer. So that's why I have it here. Yeah, for Southwest, it took me around 30 applications, but for Amazon, it took me 117.
Wow.
117, right? And I'm not exaggerating. These are the real numbers. I've had the screenshots of it as well. What kept me going is, you see, when you come to United States, you understand there's a very high competition, and you start to take things not personally. My capacity was like, hey, I used to take rejections personally, saying, hey, I'm not good for something, right? I have to go on further elevate my skills and hone them. Mm-hmm. But then I've learned, hey, I'm one of the 5,000 applicants for one role, for example, right? And if I'll continue bugging myself and saying that I'm wrong or something is not working because of me, I'll never be able to succeed. In a nutshell, the experience of like job interviewing and finding something really helped me when I started applying for through the college. We call them on-campus jobs. It's like part-time roles. This is my first time when I felt that competition here as well, because even for a role that just pays you to make some cash money in your pocket, right? There are a lot of applicants, right? Those applicants are currently the students as well. This is the time when I felt what it feels like to be able to stand out from the crowd and like maximize your chances, right? It really somehow helped me to transition to the professional world as well. And like with an internship with Southwest Airlines, yes, it's been my one of the dream internship places that I wanted to go. The second was Boeing, but I never made it there. And the story was when I was in Florida, I tried applying there. I went over a couple of rounds of interviews, but I never went to the final round. So I told myself, hey, the time has not come up yet. I'll come back to it. So what happened is the reason why I chose the University of Texas at Dallas to pursue my master's was more of a strategic decision because I wanted to kill two birds with one stone. First, to get my degree, and second is Southwest Airlines would headquarter there, right? I told myself, hey, I'm going there for two reasons, not just one, right? I want to see if I can try my luck. And during the final rounds of interviews, this is what I told the hiring manager. Hey, I said, it's been almost 3 years. I've been trying to knock this door, and I really want to be here because I have the passion. Yes, I don't have a academic degree in aviation management whatsoever, but it's my personal passion. This is something that I want to pursue, and I can bring that energy and spirit. So, and to be honest with you, it was one of my most memorable times in my career, I would say, the last 5 years. So what kept me going is my dreams. It's something that really makes you happy at the end of the day. And yeah, it's most important.
Yeah, that's solid. And so the next question is about could you share some insights on your career journey, from starting as an operations supervisor at FedEx to becoming a business analyst at Amazon and eventually a product manager at Microsoft? So what challenges did you face along the way and how did you overcome them?
Okay, that's a good question. I think I'll start with the first role with FedEx as an operations supervisor. You see, I was 21 years,
yeah.
Just fresh out of college, right? I had a couple internships, but nothing much. I did know much about the whole world, the professional world. And I always had an impression, hey, I'm going to graduate college and I'm going to work in some corporate, in a big company where I'll have to dress up, well, and just go and have a cup of coffee on my way. But universe took me somewhere else. I came to FedEx in the capacity of the ops supervisor, right? And my work was in a dock environment. I worked in the warehouse. Moreover, I had to lead around 25 to 30 employees within the capacity, which included the dock workers, the drivers, support staff, right? This was one of my biggest challenges, I would say, in my career, because mentally, with Uzbek mentality, right, when you approach people, right, you always have that respect, right, because you understand there's age difference and just it's a cultural differences, right? Here, I always lived up to them, right? For me, it was always important to remain myself, to understand where I come from and remember my roots. But it served as a challenge for me when I was managing people. The reason why is I could be too of a nice guy saying, hey, I want you to do this for me, right? I could have handled it in a different manner, saying, hey, it needs to be done. There is the reason why. That. So it was one of the biggest challenges. And people used to question me a lot because of my age, because they were older than me, apparently, right? Most of them. And I had some pictures of it as well, somewhere in social media, right? And the environment is different. Right? People there, they have their problems. They work 3 jobs, and you have to be there just not as a manager, but also as a psychotherapist to them, as a support system. Sometimes they could send me pictures from the personal life and say, hey, I cannot come to shift. This is the reason why. And I needed to handle it in a professional manner because personal relationships are important, but America is known for keeping things very professional. Right. Yeah. So it was, I think, one of the biggest challenge. Going to the transitioning to the Amazon, right? The Amazon role was more on a corporate level, right? In a nutshell, we divide the roles within the US into two, like corporate and operations. Operations is more of the on the ground, right? Like when the actual work is happening, physical, like loading trailers, right? For example, in the case with FedEx. When it came to Amazon, my role was on the corporate side. So corporate is when you more or less try to do work off the ground, right? But to help the operations within the United States. My role was a business analyst. It was a pretty technical role. I had to self-taught myself a SQL, for example. I didn't have a technical background, but it was something that job required me to do. To perform the data analytics and the BI work. So I learned SQL on my own. I learned Tableau, right, how to put the visualizations and stuff. To be very honest with you, it was a bit stressful. But I always told myself there is a reason why I'm doing this, right? And yeah, I want to be a better man at the end of the day. So, and because of Amazon, I moved to Seattle, Washington. It was almost 2 years ago. And little did I know about the tech industry or my aspirations to be here. And for the first time in my life, not I was applying to the roles, right? Actively seeking for opportunities, but someone reached out to me and said, hey, I think you could be a great fit for this position.
Wow.
This is, to be honest, how I ended up at Microsoft, because Microsoft was one of the companies that I never thought of I would work on. But hey, with life, I learned sometimes you just have to go with the flow, right? And this is how I came here, and I've been here for almost a year and a half, I would say. So that's the story behind it.
Yeah, the story is like indescribable, you know. So you are product manager at Microsoft right now. General question, like I just want to know, what is the difference between the product manager and the project manager?
It's a very good question. Actually, there is a third one called program manager.
Wow.
Project and product, right? So the product manager is a role that I'm at, right? You work directly with end users, like customers, right? It could be external customers. In my case, these are the users that deal with the supply chain of the whole Microsoft hardware business. You call them supply planners, material management team, operations managers, right? So my goal is to create the right products for them. When I say product, it's a digital product. It might be software application. It might be the data analytics dashboard, for example. At the end of the day, it's my product, right? And I'm delivering exact value for them. When it comes to the project management, right, it's more or less when you manage multiple things at a time. And it not necessarily has to be the product, right? It might be the process flow that you're trying to optimize or automate, right? It's more on a capacity of managing multiple things at a time, right? And the value realization might not be in the sense of a product. Like, hey, I'm delivering the product to you, like in the sense of like a software, right? Or I'm building like a new iPhone for you, right? So within product management, there is a project management aspect of it and program management, I would say. So this is, I think, to my point of view, there's the difference between these two.
Yeah. Good. Like, and so as a product manager at Microsoft, can you tell us more about your current role and responsibilities, and what kind of projects are you currently working on, and how do they contribute to the overall strategy of the company?
It's a good question. Yeah, absolutely. So my organization is called Supply Chain Engineering. So what we do is, like Microsoft is well known for their tech products, right? But they're also known for their hardware business. When I say hardware is, think of an example of Xboxes, right? Xbox is a product of Microsoft, right? It's a physical product, right? And it's done in-house. What it means it's done in-house is, I'm going to give you a very simple example of an Apple product like iPhone, right? In the past, you could look at the back of the iPhone and say, it would say made in California, designed in California, and made in China, right? So the behind the curtains, what is happening is there's a whole supply chain process, right? What it means is there's a design team that sits within somewhere in the United States, right? That actually puts all of this in the 3D version of it, right? Basically assembles it, right? And then the product is outsourced for manufacturers to countries outside of the United States, right? And then there's something which you call as when manufacturing is done, you have to identify how do you want to ship these products, right? Whether they're going to the Asian markets, to the European markets, or to the North American region, for example, right? And I'm giving a very high-level explanation of what is a supply chain right now. And this is what our team does. We're in the supply chain engineering. We help our business operations team to make sure the Xboxes are manufactured at the right time, with the right capacity, into the right regions, right? So they are the team who actually goes and say, hey, I'm going to order 1,000 Xboxes and deliver them to London, for example, right? And we are the team who helps them to automate their processes. For example, they might be using Excel files or even Outlook email for communication with their stakeholders or suppliers, right? In return, what we can do is we as a supply chain engineering team coming there and saying, hey, we see you do a lot of manual work. Let us come and help you to automate these processes for you. Like build something that can increase efficiency, right? In my specific domain, if we're going there, my vertical is called the data analytics. What we do is we provide the business intelligence solutions for our supply chain users. What I mean by that, right? Very simple example. For example, think of like, hey, how many open Xbox purchase orders do we have in the system, right? This information is not easily available, right? Yes, you can go and create the tables and databases and try to ping people and say, right? But it's not easily available, right? There's no mechanism at this time, right? That's why we can put a dashboard with all of the analytics and saying, hey, for example, we have 50,000 purchase orders within the system right now. And out of 50,000, 30,000 has been delivered. So it's giving this very data-driven insights that really helps you to make better decisions, whether it's for the executive leadership or it's for the people who are more on the ground and operations side. So it was a high level,
Yeah, I got it. Yeah. Wow. What skills and knowledge have you gained from your previous experiences that you find most valuable in your current role at Microsoft right now? And how do you continue to develop yourself professionally in the ever-evolving field of IT?
Very good question. So no matter what job you do, whether it's a technical or non-technical, right? Whether you're selling hot dogs there or putting the presentation to the C-suite level people, right? The communication. This is what I've learned on my own. Communication is the key, right? Being able to deliver your message in a very simple and conscious fashion. It's not everyone can do that, right? Especially, for example, right? When I'm talking to technical teams, like our engineering teams, right? You have to go a little deeper, right? And use the jargon, the technical jargon that is easily understood by them, right? But this is not the same language I can go and talk to my business stakeholders. They may get lost, right? So being able to translate everything and filter out the information and try to find out the right language, it's the key, I would say, the communication. And being adaptable is also a very important trait, I would say, that really helps you because the work environment within the United States is very, it's constantly changing. Someday those skills might be applicable and relevant, right, to your role. The other day it may not be already important, right? It's always learning how you can go and further elevate your skills and understand what is important, right? For me, you see, I'm not even saying that like I'm proficient in Microsoft Excel, right? Like this is something that I could be proud of. Like it's a very simple example. When I was in college, right? This is what I put on my resume. In these days, I never mentioned that because it became a very must-have skill for me that I don't even highlight it, right? And say, hey, like I'm good at this, right? This is something that 95% of the jobs require you to be proficient at, right? Knowing the capabilities of that tool and whatsoever. So first is communication, second is adaptability, and the third is having the clear vision where you're going to. Because the environment here is once you enter the workforce, you're becoming like a rabbit, you're becoming like a robot. You constantly work, right? And if you don't find purpose or reason why you're doing that, you can really get lost or burned out, right? The velocities here are high. The expectations from the management leadership teams are high, especially in big corporations like this. Right, so you'll always have to understand the reason why you're doing that, whether it's a financial stability, whether would you like to get your green card, for example, or if you would want to further grow in your career, right? So there has to be a reason. I think those three main points that are essential to be successful, in my opinion.
Three strong aspects, like from your previous experience, and then. So as you said, like communication is the key. So since your childhood, like were you introvert or extrovert, like, and being like, let's say like being introvert or extrovert helped you did that like help you like for in your career? Like as you said, right now, communication is the key. Like,
Yep. Good question. Actually, I would say more on the extrovert side, but sometimes I need my peace when I don't want to talk to anyone, so it shifts. But naturally, I would say I'm more of an extrovert, right? I'm that type of person who can go and talk to anyone,
uh-huh.
right? If there's a need, I won't shy away, right? Because the worst thing that can happen is if the person is not interested, they will say no, right?
Yeah.
And how can it hurt me, right? How can it hurt my ego? So it really helps you here because this is what the culture appreciates here in the United States, right? Being able to go and openly talk, right? Express
Yeah.
yourself, right? We give that energy out, right? And sound confident at least, right? And this really can help you to open a lot of doors. And me coming from a different mentality where you have to be a little more not shy but like reserved, that you
Yeah.
don't need to speak up too much. It also took me a while to transition because I told myself this is an environment, if I want to survive I have to adapt, right? I have to change, right? I have to follow the steps and pace of this culture for me,
Uh-huh.
right? So it took me a while as well to transition and transform it, but I can switch it back easily when I see, for example, Uzbek people. So yeah, I think from the childhood it was never a problem for me. Yeah, but hey, you never know. It's constantly evolving, right? We're
Yeah,
human
like
beings.
changing, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And what are your future plans and aspirations in your IT career? And do you have any specific goals or milestone that you want to like go through that you aim to achieve in the near future, let's say?
Okay. So it's a lot of questions. Well, let me start taking one by one, right? What are my plans within the career in the IT industry? Let me tell you one thing. Any
Uh-huh.
job right now, probably in the whole world as well, has an aspect of the information technology, right?
Yeah.
So you use different
Ah,
applications, you
yeah.
use tools and software, right? So it's all about the IT right now.
Yeah,
No
yeah,
matter what type of job I'm going to be doing, right? I'll have to be using some sort of platforms and systems and having this technical acumen, right?
yeah.
But my aspiration within the IT, I would say, is data analytics. I really like to work with data, numbers, right? To like go and see, hey, what kind of analysis can we put in here? Like we have a lot of information. The reason why is we have a lot of information in our data warehouses, right? But how can we transition and shift them and make them easily available to our end users, right?
Yeah.
The end users at the end of it don't have time to go and look for the data they need, right? They want something that is ready and easily available. This is, I think, I can add the value because I like to go into the weeds and like query some stuff and like see, hey, where's the connection here? Because
Uh-huh.
one thing is when you are querying the databases, another thing is when you understand what type of data it is, right? It might be relevant to like supply chain industry in this case, right?
Yeah.
Like when you're talking a language of Xboxes, or you may speak about the aviation, right? Like different type of engine types or like different parts for the
Uh-huh.
engine, right? So it's limitless, right?
Yeah.
So for me, I really want to continue my path in that field, right? Within the data analytics space, or they call it the business intelligence,
Uh-huh.
BI. So, right. And for me, for example, AI and machine learning was something really new and still is. I really want to go into that space and learn more, right?
Uh-huh.
Because this is not just the future. This is already the present here,
Yeah.
right? You better be up to the trends and stay active. Yeah, on that. So the next question you mentioned about the long-term goals, right? In general.
Uh-huh.
Well, as a citizen of the planet Earth, I would say is I always had that uh, wish. I would say not just a dream, right? To one day come back to my motherland and see if I can help our nation, our people, right? Because at the end of the day, I always feel that I'm on a work trip here, and it's been a while. It's
Uh-huh.
been almost 10 years work trip, right? I'm gaining a lot of information, knowledge,
Yeah.
and at the end of the day, I want to give an output as well, right? Output to the people, right? To people who are in need, or just, being able to connect the dots, right? For our generations, right?
Yeah.
So we can build a better future, right? And I think our nation is extremely great. We have a very strong genes and the passion and attitude towards things, right?
Yeah.
And it all comes down to the recipe, right? I have some things that I can provide as well, that I would say we could make or bake a really good meal out of this. So yeah, that's, I think.
Well, yeah, like you're absolutely like right, because like you and other experts like who already achieved, I think they need to share and make others go, like, help others, especially young like citizens of Uzbekistan as well. Yeah,
that's true. That's true. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I'm also the guy who sometimes needs the support. So it's a mutual thing. You put your energy in, you also get something out, right? I don't consider myself as a subject matter expert. For me, it's constantly learning and growing, right? In any space I go. For example, if I ever return back to my home country, right, I will know that I can learn a lot of things from our smart people as well. So, right, having that is something that I've always learned, right, from my previous managers. They always told me, don't have a know-it-all mindset when you come to something, even if you feel confident, but come with a learn-it-all mindset, saying, hey, there's always an opportunity for you to grow, and there's a room for you to improve on, right? I think that's the key. That really helps
Yeah, I got it. Absolutely right. Like about AI, about trends. Let me go a bit off topic right now. And in your perspective, what is ChatGPT, and what do we know? What do we need to know about this, and why is everyone talking about this?
Okay, well, as I mentioned, I'm not a subject matter expert at ChatGPT whatsoever. Yeah, I'm just going to give my amateur opinion on that product as well. Right? It's an open AI product. The company, Microsoft, did a great job at the time investing into this, right? Funding it partially. So the reason why I think it's successful is the United States is also very well known for its marketing.
Yeah.
That's my perception of it, right? Because you can create a very good product, but if you don't know how to position it within the market or how to attract customers, right, it will never work well, right?
Yeah.
And with ChatGPT, I think there were, when I was reading stories, right, I saw there were similar products already available, like by other companies as well, but they were not really good advertised, right? So I think this a part of the thing that comes into ChatGPT when it became a boom at the beginning of this year, right? When Microsoft had an opportunity to go and put it through their channels of advertisement, right, to make it big. Of course, at the end of the day, it's a really powerful tool if you go and ask questions, right, and you can get an answer to that as well. But it also can mimic something. Hey, yes, we're going to the future. This is a very open product, right, that can be used by anyone, right? It doesn't have any restrictions. What is the future for us? If we're seeing this type of innovation within the IT industry, right? Of course, there will be a lot of enhancements, right? I believe there's ChatGPT 3.5 still, and not 4, right? But they have a lot of the versions of them as well. I'm curious to see how we can transition it. I feel there will be a lot of adoption to the different industries, right, for ChatGPT. Think of it as like a chatbot. When you go and search for something, right, you want to get something instantly, right? Within different applications, they can embed the ChatGPT into that, and they can train the model, right? I did some research on how can you ingest the ChatGPT into different workspaces, especially in the supply chain, all right? And basically train the model. Like as a human, you train it, and then it catches up the platform on the back end and just produces the outputs as well. So it's a very interesting space, right? And definitely that space is not for everyone just to come in and comment on that. And I refrain from commenting from things that I don't feel confident and talking about. That's why it's just my subjective opinion on the product itself.
Yeah, I got it. All clear. So, like, I wanted to ask about whether you will come to you will return to Uzbekistan or not. Like, and like the question was about like considering your international background, do you plan to return to your hometown or explore other opportunities in other countries? And how do you envision your future career path in this IT industry?
Okay, well, yeah, to answer your question, simply yes, I would really want to come back, right, and see if I can if I can find my space and see if I can benefit people there, our people, right, our nation. It's very important for me. It's some sort of a personal mission to me as well. But at the same time, I would want to have an opportunity to travel the world, explore things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, in my interviews when I gave it to Habaruz, right, I think it was a couple of years ago, I mentioned that like I would like to travel to London or Istanbul, right, and see if I like. So this is something that has been. This is not a finished decision, right? I still have to explore this. I want to try it and see if I can find my fit, right? But hey, foundationally, right, I want to be available to Uzbekistan. I want to be present there from time to time, right?
Yeah.
So, and for the IT, I think it's the Uzbekistan is becoming a hub of the IT industry, right? Especially in the Central Asian region. This is what I've been observing from the side, right? Yeah, and I still believe there are so many bright talents, so many bright people that can do and are already doing a very successful job, like yourself as well, right? I've made research on you as well, so I feel you have all what it needs to be successful, and I'm saying it genuinely because based on my analysis. So it's just the list is going on and on. So
yeah, thank you so much. All right. Well, like you mentioned, like you come visiting London or Turkey, and is it still about like aviation industry, right? Like
yes, like you see, I can connect. But when you talk about the aviation, right, there are a lot of IT products they use. Like think very simply, right? The mobile application, right? Like let's say, right? Not sure if within Uzbekistan, like I can give a very simple prototype, right? 24 hours before the flight, you get a notification in the application through any of the aviation companies, like airlines, like, hey, check in for your flight. So basically, you don't have to go and print the bag tags in the airport. You can have them digitally available with the mobile, right? So you're saving a lot of trees from not printing things, right? So it's all about efficiency as well. It's about all the digital transformation as well, how to make things paperless, right? This is also the space within the IT, within the aviation that we can go and expand, right? The opportunities are limitless there as well. So I would position myself more being within that space because you need information technology in any aspect today, right?
Exactly.
Yes. So it's just a very simple example, I would say.
Yeah. So and regarding the young people in Uzbekistan, like as I informed earlier, so what advice do you have for young IT enthusiasts who are starting their careers or aspiring to work in top tech companies like you, as you work in Amazon or Microsoft? And what lessons have you learned from your own experiences and that you would like to share with them, to the audience of IT community of Uzbekistan?
Okay. First thing that comes to my mind is be good at what you're doing. Like be really sharp. You don't need to have 10 skills. You better have 3 skills, but hone them to the point when you become the pro, when you become the master, right? And it's all about the constant learn, right? The growth itself, right? Don't think that if you're honing some sort of like a programming language that you're becoming master. No, there's always opportunities to grow there. You can use different optics to see if you can tackle challenges from different angles, right? Always have that mindset. You see, having the soft skills and the hard skills, as they say, right? It's very important, but also mentally, you have to be prepared.
Yeah.
Sometimes I've seen people coming to this, being successful in the tech roles, not because of their tech skills, right? But just by their perception or by their vision, how can they translate and turn things into actionable insights, right? And for me, it's, if I would advise it, learn, grind. It's very simple. It may sound as like a cliche, but hey, the beauty is in simplicity, right? It just be good at what you're doing, right? And always constantly look for more opportunities to network, right? Tech skills or hard skills can help you to do your job well, but your soft skills will take you to that job. Yeah. Right? It's because you have to enter multiple doors. You have to go through a lot of rounds of interviews, right? You have to network with people. And coming and pitching, hey, I'm good at this and I'm good at that, doesn't do any good, right? So you have to know your personal branding as well. You have to know how to position yourself, or how they say it here, you have to know how to sell yourself, right? It's a combination, right? It's a combination of multiple things, and you have to find the balance, right? And being successful within the information technology industry is a key, but also what is important is to have the life, outside. Because I spend around 9 to 10 hours a day just looking at my computer, right? And don't get me wrong, I get exhausted. It's a lot of energy that's being drained out, right? You have to find sources to refill, like get that energy coming from somewhere, right? And just have the balance of life, right? Work and life, I would say, right? And well, one thing I always told myself, the boundaries are only set here, right? There are no boundaries that people have, right? We always say, hey, I can do this, I can do that. The reason why is because we're fears of something, right? We're scared of something. It's coming from personal inner world, right? If you want something, there is always a way to find it, right? Probably it would take some time, right? If it's a bigger goal, but at the end of the day, everything is possible, especially with the right mindset. So this is what I recommend: is keep grinding, and keep grinding. I know it's very simple, but I believe it's very powerful as well. And it sounds old-fashioned too, and I'm a bit old-fashioned person, right? But it helped me to be successful at, right, and get me to the places that I wanted to be, right? And having the opportunity to not just to prove myself, but hey, being a responsible person, right? And earning the trust of my leaders, right? When I see leaders as my ex-managers and current managers as well, it really helped me to push through the doors that I wanted to go, and just and be loyal to yourself. It's very.
Very golden advices. So there I remembering the words of the cartoon Kung Fu Panda, the father of Kung Fu Panda says there is no secret ingredients, so just do it. You're saying
everything is within you, I believe, right? I don't want to sound philosophical right now, but all the power is within you. You have to discover it. You have to open up that world within yourself and find the right ingredients, right? And there's not a secret recipe to be successful or to be good at something, right? It's everyone have their own paths, right? If something worked well for me, doesn't necessarily mean it would work for you. But hey, there's also the core or foundational things that can set you up for success. So
you're all the philosophy for me, and some kind of interesting question for you. What's the one question you wish I would ask to you, and how would you be your answer to this question?
Okay, it's a good question. Let me think. Oh, well, So what's the one question I wish you asked me?
And what would be your answer to this question?
Okay, well, I have to ask myself and then answer. Okay. I don't know. One thing I would think of, like, why me, right?
Yeah.
Why, yeah, why we're doing the interviews with me, right, and not some other person, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I'm the type of a guy who likes to understand things and go into very details and be more logical. So,
Yeah.
hey, sometimes, I told you, right? I learned how to go with the flow, not to ask a lot of questions in general. But you've asked me, so I couldn't resist, right? Why me? Right? And to answer, it's a very intricate question. It's, it's I feel I have some experience, not all, right, to motivate people, right, with my personal stories. The reason why, when I was doing something, when I was in my road, in the middle of going to something, I had no confidence or assurance that I'll get there, right? And more on top of that, I honestly didn't have people who could come and help me and say, hey, you got this, So
Yeah.
I learned how to be on my own, how to be independent, right? And just rely on myself. And for me, it's a great power that comes within. I was able to explore within myself, right? And I think that energy I've discovered within me, I can share it with people around me, right?
Yeah.
And motivate them. I never felt that I was the best or the smartest guy in the room, but I always knew what it would take me to go and get the job done, right? And so this is something that people, I think, underrate, I would say, is having that extra push, when you feel nothing is working, like having that extra motivation, that energy, right? Just going that extra mile, right? And changing things. I think I can be that person who can provide that energy and spirit and motivate.
Yeah.
Right. I'm also a team player, so I really like to surround myself with a lot of intellectually nimble people. So from different parts of the world, and yeah, it's a very
Like,
self-reflection question.
let me answer for this question, like why
Okay.
you, like why I choose you, like because like there were like 50 notable people in our list, and then I like looked through everyone, and I kind of checked your LinkedIn, and I got a lot, because like at this age, at a young age, like studying in the USA and getting master's degree, like it's not like another level of I don't know, like, and I'm sure that's right now, and I kind of get I wasn't wrong at that time. Why I choose? Because I got a lot of notes in here. Like I got a lot of notes today. Yeah, I learned a lot from you today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's an honor for me to be here as well. And yeah, and hey, don't forget, it's a constant growth, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's opportunities are there. So we'll keep striving, we'll keep growing. Yeah.
Like yeah. And do you listen to any podcasts right now these days?
To be honest, no. The past, yeah, I would say for the past couple months, I have not been listening to any podcasts. So I try to really disconnect if I really want to disconnect, because I already get a lot of information from the work, right? From doing some extracurricular things outside of work as well. So I try to be wise to my time as well, how I spend it and where I invested. So for the past few months, no podcasts. I'm on a break.
Oh yeah. Or like, do you like books or movies? Any?
Yeah, the books is one of the last books I've been reading. It's The Man's Search for the Meaning. I came to that point, I would say, in my life where I need to answer some questions that I had in my mind for a while, right? So I understand my path forward. So I'm trying to see if the book can be helpful. right?
Uh-huh.
And again, let me tell you one thing, right? I can list you 55 books right now and say they were great for me, but it doesn't necessarily mean they could be great for you as well, right?
Yeah.
So that's why I try to stay away from this type of recommendations. Yes, there are some noble books, right, that are really good, but at the same time, it's having this toolbox, right? If I'm giving you some tool, right, to open the door or the keys, right? The key might work for my door, but it may not work for yours, right?
Yeah.
So it's always, finding what works best for you, the right tools, right? So, and the same thing with the books as well. There is a wealth of information. And another thing is, I've seen a lot of smart people going to, who are graduating from the big Ivy League schools, right? But one thing I've noticed is not everyone can use the knowledge in a proper way, right?
Yeah.
It's all about translating your inputs, right? Like how you're interpreting the information and then, like, what can you build from it? It's like having a Lego sets, right? Lego tools.
Yeah, exactly.
Think of it. If you're giving 1,000 pieces, right, you can build something really cool out of it and sell it. Or you can build some kind of a junk and no one will ever understand it.
Mm-hmm.
This is the same with an information or knowledge, right, that you have. It's having an ability to translate it or put it and flow that energy into the place where it will be most valued or will make a meaningful impact.
Yeah.
Right. So I think that's also important. So
yeah. Good. Yeah. Wait. So what are your words, let's say words to the IT community of Uzbekistan? Like, actually, how did you hear about the IT community and how do you envision that IT community of Uzbekistan is going well, or yeah.
Okay, it's a very good question. That you asked. The reason why is I'm familiar with your founder of the IT community of Uzbekistan, Shavkat Karimov.
Yeah.
He used to work at Microsoft as well. And there was a time when I was interviewing with a company and I came across his profile, right? I think it's a personal story. And I reached out to him saying, wow, there's also an Uzbek guy working Microsoft. Let me get some sort of a feedback or see if he could provide some guidance. And surprisingly, he didn't know me at all, right? He knew that I worked at Microsoft, that I was based out of Seattle. He was there too at that time. So we had a very genuine and thoughtful conversation where I felt that person just was there for me, really helped me spend time, took the time, right, to explain me the processes of the interviewing, what would it be most important for me to focus on to be successful in my interviews, right? And that story, that really gave me a lot of appreciation for him, because you don't really get to meet a lot of people to these days who are going to spend hours of their time to like strangers. I was a stranger to him that time, probably still right now, but that's act of kindness, right, and humility really helped me to understand. And one thing he told me, I always tell, hey, please ever let me know if I can do anything good to you as well, right? I want to be there. And he told me one thing, hey, in the future, when someone else comes across, when you feel in need or help, just go ahead and help them as well. Try to support them and guide them, right? And this is what I put on my first post on IT community when I heard that he's the founding of this organization. Hey, I'll be there to support and provide as much support and guidance as I can, right? Sharing my knowledge, but at the same time learning, right? I don't want to position myself from the capacity, hey, I'm here, the owner, or I'm the subject matter expert. No, I'm also the same person as we all are, and I want to grow together, right? So we all add uniqueness to the table, right? I may add some yellow colors, you will come and add the green color as well. And the combination will create something great. So that's my philosophy. And this is how I learned about IT community.
Wow. Yeah. And where can listeners find you online on social media platforms?
Yes, I mean, for professional network, I would say LinkedIn, right? I utilize this platform a lot. I would
Yeah.
say. And yeah, my email as well also is linked to my LinkedIn profile. If there's ever need to reach out,
Mhm.
I would say,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, that should be enough for the first time. Like when you're returning like to Uzbekistan, it would be great to meet you in person and like and talk more on different topics. Maybe like for the contribution of IT community of Uzbekistan as well. When you do you have any plans like in your?
Within the upcoming year, I would say, right?
Uh-huh.
By the end of the year, hopefully, that's the
Uh-huh.
plan. So we'll be working towards that. Yeah, and I would love to come as well and meet in person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a people person, so I love the physical interaction as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, it would be
Wow.
great, and I would be honored to come in and yeah,
Wow.
and meet.
Yeah. Exactly. The same from me. Um, well, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you so much for taking your time and being an interview. Yeah, we are ending. So, and see you soon. Maybe in person, as you said, at the end of the year, I think. Yeah, thank you so much
Thank you,
for
Akhmad,
today.
for having me here. Thank you. I've enjoyed it as well. There's a lot of self-reflection. Thank you for the thought-provoking questions. Thank you, Akhmad.
Have a good day and see you soon.
Have a good night as well. Yeah, thank you so much.
Bye bye. Yeah, see you.